All right, Connor, my man, my dude. How we doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How about you?
We are blessed. We are talking baseball with, one of the best that we've ever had on the show, and I don't say that lightly. We've had hundreds of guests, and I will say like we're gonna get into your story, and the accolades and the accomplishments are worthy of a book, my friend. So I can't wait to get your perspective and you share your story, but I gotta start, man. Obviously we do a lot of research when we're trying to get, info and we're trying to like scour the globe trying to get all the tidbits and all the magic little nuggets out there. But I did notice something. You go, quite frequently from the beard game to a clean shaven game and anywhere in between. So I gotta ask, man, what is like what determines how much facial hair you grow for the day, the week, the month? Like, what dictates that?
That's a great question. My freshman year, I had a goatee there for a little bit, and I threw really well one game when I shaved it into that. So I just kept it rolling, and then soon found out I could grow an actual beard. So I thought it looked good. I kept it for a while. Then I clean shaved and realized that I didn't look the same. I wasn't the same person
You
without
look
it, so I had to go
15,
right back.
bro. 15 years old without that beard.
I'm an age shifter, that's for sure.
So the question is, what do you like better? Is it like full, like a nice thick, nice voluminous beard, or just kind of like a 5 o'clock shadow, or something a little light but not nothing crazy?
I like it thick. I mean, I try to get it as long as I can. I recently just shaved it off about 2 weeks ago, and I'm working back to try to get the full thing going.
That's 2 weeks. This is like 2 years.
It's a I don't know what beard oil I'm using, but it works.
Just an NIL deal, beard oil right here.
Yep, here we go. So, before there were beards, obviously, more closer to the clean shaven route, you were a kid, man. So tell me a little bit about childhood, but more specifically, talk to me a little bit about where you're from and where you grew up.
Yeah, it's a pretty complicated story. So I was born in Greenwood, Arkansas. Lived there till I was 3, and then I moved to Tampa, Florida. That's really where my
Hello.
athletic, yeah, Florida boy. You like it down in the heat, but started playing sports down there. Really fell in love with baseball and football, and stayed there till I was 10. And then I moved to Reno, Nevada at the age of 10, obviously, and stayed there till 15. Played my first semester of high school football, and then moved back to Arkansas.
Let's go back a little bit, shall we? You mentioned Tampa. That's currently where I live right now. So tell me, like, where in the city of Tampa? Obviously, it was 9 or 10 where you when you moved out, but what area so I can kind of visualize what's going on here.
I think we live in like Lutz.
Oh, okay, the
Uh,
little Lutz.
Isn't that
so
where
I
Elko's
went.
from?
I
Uh,
have I have no idea.
no, Elko. He might have lived out there, but Elko went to Hillsborough High School, but
Okay.
Mhm.
not too far away. But
Yeah.
um, no, it's always cool because I kind of get an idea of what the area was like, the kind of the makeup, the demographics, but obviously bouncing around Arkansas to Florida, Reno, and back, uh, you got to have a support system along the way, someone to lean on, someone to just trust in, especially as a kid. So, are you the only sibling? Do you have, brothers and sisters, mom and dad? What's the family dynamic look like?
Yeah, I got a great family. Mom and dad have always been the support system, and they're kind of crazy. They have decided in their later years to have more kids. So I have a younger sister that's 7 and a younger brother that's 11. So, um, that's the younger side of the family. And then I have an older brother who's 23. So my parents really got creative and wanted to space it out and keep the house full for as long as possible.
So what is that like growing up? Obviously you're damn near grown and like your mom and dad, they're like, hey man, guess what, Connor? You're not cool anymore. We're gonna have another one.
I was a middle child there for the longest time, and you know how that goes. You're always
Oh,
uh, either
out
you're
of
always
sight,
the
out
in
of mind.
between. Exactly. And then they had my little sister Francesca, and I got pushed even further back on the burner because she's a girl, obviously first one in the family, so she is the she runs the house. Say that.
So that's why you're such an elite player. Is like you were one, you forgot about, and you're like, man, what am I gonna do? I'm so bored. Nobody like knows I'm even here. But secondly, like now you have the chance to be on the stage and get all the attention. So I'm sure that's pretty cool. But obviously you talk baseball, but man, you were a football player. I mean, I seen the stats. So what age did you start playing baseball and football?
I started baseball earlier than football. I was probably 4 when I started baseball, and then 7 when I started football.
So which one was your favorite?
I always loved baseball. You know, later down the road in football, when I started playing quarterback, that's kind of when I fell in love with it. But baseball is always my first love.
Yeah, I mean, some people answer that question, like we've had guys on here that play multiple sports, and we always ask, well, what was your favorite, or not necessarily the one you were better at. And 9 times out of 10, they'll pick the one that they weren't as good in. So it's interesting for you to say, oh, your favorite is baseball, and that's kind of the route that you pursued. Um, thinking more in depth, obviously, being an athlete, growing up, you got to have some role models. You got to have some professional athletes that you're looking up to. So, as a kid, who are you trying to mold your game after?
I always loved Justin Verlander growing up. I don't know why. I think my little league team was the Detroit Tigers, so I kind of
You
took a
kind of
liking
look
to
like
him.
Justin Verlander, if we're being honest.
I'll take that. He has a pretty wife. She's pretty good looking. So if I can pull
Yeah,
that off,
she's okay.
She's okay. So
but
I'm assuming the World Series you're pulling for the Astros. I take it.
I mean, I would have liked to see Justin Verlander get another one. So I think I had to root for them.
Okay. Got it. Where obviously the Justin Verlander, great role model to mold your game after. I mean, one of the best in the game. Um, are you when you're looking at him and you're going, man, that's what I want to do, or that's the way that I want to approach the game? Are you in high school at the time? Are you still like, working your way up? Are you playing travel ball? What age are you?
I was probably say like 13. I mean, you could just from a young age, I can see his demeanor on the mound, how he carries himself out there, and I mean, he's an ultimate competitor. So I think if you're going to model anything, you want a guy that has all those attributes.
Absolutely. So obviously you picked a good guy. You get the demeanor, you get it right. You end up all right. It's high school time. What high school did you attend?
Greenwood High School in Greenwood, Arkansas.
Well, you must be. Let me ask this before I get to this plethora of accolades. Are you like the the biggest thing in Greenwood? Like I feel like when you walk outside, people know who you are. Is that the case?
Not really. We've had a lot of big names come out of Greenwood. Tyler Wilson, former Arkansas quarterback. Daniel Stegall, former professional baseball player. Grant Morgan, Drew Morgan. We've had a long list of guys. So I don't know if I crack that top 3 list, but I hope to be up there somewhere.
Well, you know what, Greenwood, Arkansas, you got some work to do because I can't even like normally I can like memorize for the most part the stats, but I have to read yours word for word verbatim because there's so much. So I'm going to start with football. 4-star prospect by ESPN and rated the number 2 player in Arkansas. That's by ESPN and by 247 Sports. He threw 61 touchdowns, 5,768 yards thrown. He played in the Blue-Gray All-American Bowl at the AT&T Stadium in Arlington. Led the Bulldogs to a perfect 13-0 record, a Class 6A state title as a senior. You threw for 304 yards, 4 touchdowns in Greenwood's 52-14 win over Pine Bluff in the state title game. That's not all. Just bear with me here. You were named the Hootens Arkansas Football Classic 7A 6A Offensive Player of the Year. So, talk to me a little bit about Friday Night Lights and winning a state title. You were throwing all those touchdowns and playing, where the boys play, playing where Dallas plays in an amazing stadium. What is that ride like, knowing like state championships to passing yards to players of the year, awards? Like, what's it like going through all that?
It was super fun. I mean, my high school career was some of the best times of my life. I mean, I'm sure anybody that's played high school football knows there's a lot of pressure that goes with it, but just having all your friends on the same team and getting to play with those guys is something special. And we did a lot of cool things that last year. We lost at Pine Bluff my sophomore year, so we kind of got some retribution there my senior year, and everybody's pretty excited about that one.
Randy, Jim, when I think of Connor and like him stepping out like on a Friday, or after the game, like I feel like Varsity Blues. It's just like he's just like the man.
Paul
Like,
Walker.
here comes QB1 strutting out for a Saturday night. I mean, you hit up, the burger spot. They're like, "Oh, it's on us, Connor. Great game Friday, bro." Is that how it's going down? It's got to, right?
And I wish we normally went to the Waffle House, so I don't know if it's as spectacular as a local burger place.
Oh, it's better.
Oh,
Smothered and covered.
But
getting it.
look, Connor, I'm gonna have to shoot you straight because me and Daniel and Randy we played football at our school and we didn't win very much. So like what we did after is what actually had to matter because we knew we were gonna lose, so we had to make sure that we were gonna hit the best spots.
You got to win somehow.
Well, nobody knew who we were though. That was the problem.
Yeah. Like, y'all didn't see me. I just sat there and didn't score any points. Oh man, it had to be a amazing experience. Obviously, you're getting to play, where professionals, play on Sundays. You're getting all these honors and these attributes. Was there ever, and we'll probably get into this, but I gotta ask, like, at what point did you ever think about, hey man, like I'm just gonna do football, like forget all this baseball nonsense, like I'm pretty good at this football thing.
Uh, Actually, my junior year, I went on a visit to Arkansas, and it went through the whole rundown, and I was like, I looked at the weight room, the facilities, the stadium, and you just imagine it packed full of people, and I thought maybe I should just stick to one, but we had a great baseball season, and I love baseball. I've always loved it, so I decided I couldn't do it. As great as the Saturday nights are for college football, it's hard to pass up college baseball.
But I mean, it's apparent, like you made a great choice, because I mean, it's not like you were a slouch in baseball. You were 2018 preseason All-American by perfect game. You had a .45 ERA over your final 2 years of high school. Not 1 year, but 2 years combined. Like sub one. Like that's unbelievable. You were 10-0 on the mound in 2018. You allowed just 4 earned runs in 66 innings. You struck out 123 batters. You walked only 14. You notched 7 games throughout the year with at least 10 Ks. You didn't allow a run in your final 8 starts, including a 4-0 win over Benton in the 6A state championship game. You struck out 12 in the championship game in 2018, but you were also a force offensively. Like you not only got it done on the mound, you said, I'm going to be Otani before Otani was Otani. And so you offensively, you hit 424, 4 home runs, 37 RBIs. Man, I thought you were dominant in football, but man, it really, just reading through it, I'm like speechless for like how good you were in both of those sports, man. Like, how do you balance it all? I mean, is it just you contribute it to just working hard, or was it something in particular that you did that was different than everyone else, where you were able to excel in both of those?
It just worked hard. I mean, I was always pretty gifted, arm talent wise, but everything in between that, pitchability, um, you know, reading defenses, all the stuff, the intangibles that don't really come easy or natural. That's where I really dedicated my time, and in the weight room, I think that's really what separated me.
Well, man, you know, I was a pitcher throughout my career, and pitcher to pitcher, I don't think people understand how difficult it is for that strikeout to walk ratio to be so dominant in your favor. But, what was it that you did? Did you just attack hitters, or were you trying to, keep guys off balance? Were you trying to throw multiple pitches for strikes, or were you just trying to establish dominance on the inner or outer half of the plate? Like, what is it that you did that allowed you to have so much success?
I think I threw a lot of options at people. I had the slider, curve, fastball, and that really provided a lot of answers for anything that they could provide. So I just mixed it up in the zone and attacked everybody. I didn't try to nibble anywhere. I just went after people, and if you start getting aggressive during that period, strikeouts come with that.
Absolutely, man. So you get to a point where this whole resume of stats and accomplishments, starts working in your favor. At what point do you realize like college is a high likelihood and a great possibility? Um, and I guess more so like into that decision, was football ever a factor in trying to do both or one or the other? Or did you just go, I'm just going to go to the best school and whatever sport that is, that's what I'm going to do?
Uh, I don't know. There's a lot of things that went into it. I got recruited pretty early. Going into my sophomore year, I got my first offer, so I knew it was on the table, and that's what I wanted to do. But I decided probably end of my sophomore year that I was going to play both, and started getting interest from baseball. But the thing was, when I was getting recruited for football, none of the baseball teams would really touch me because you have to go to school on a football scholarship if you're going to play baseball or try to do both. So I was running a fine line there of the recruitment process.
So obviously you narrow down, the schools, but I guess give me the top three schools. I mean, obviously Arkansas is in the mix. You're an Arkansas guy. You talked about going there, but like what other schools were options?
I love Northwestern. That was a big one for me, and then North Carolina. So I really stepped outside the box. I know Northwestern's probably not the best baseball school or football school, but I was thinking more. They had a good business program, and that was more of a long, looking in the mirror and seeing what I could actually do on the side of business. And North Carolina, they got a great program, great baseball team. So I really loved my visit there.
So despite the love and the programs that were offered at these other schools, what was it about Arkansas, and why did you inevitably go, that's the place that I'm going?
It took me a while to figure it out. I wanted to check all my boxes off, but once I saw everywhere else, I just knew that Arkansas has everything I need. We got great fans, great school, and we have private jets on the baseball team that can fly you back the next day, so you can make both practices. So, we always charter planes for our away trips, so that made it really easy during spring practice. I could get back and make sure I didn't miss any time, and that was a big factor for me, just time management wise.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about dual sports when they're in high school, and here you are doing it at the highest level, where in the best conference in the country. So, getting into football a little bit. So, you play in 4 games in 2018 as a redshirt freshman, completed 21 of 42 for 255, a touchdown and 2 picks. You even got to start the October 20th game against Tulsa. So, not a whole lot of playing time, but you did have a start in there. You only played that one season. So talk to us about what that was like. I mean, you mentioned kind of the traveling back and forth of charter. I really do feel bad for you, but what was that like, and what did you learn from that process?
It was a tough year. I mean, our football team was struggling that year, and me and one of my friends, John Stephen Jones, we were kind of the backup quarterbacks to the backup quarterbacks. So when stuff wasn't going right, we get in there and be the tackling dummy for the other team. So we just try to take our opportunities and run with them. But it teaches you how to lose at some point. You got to learn. I mean,
You had not
losing isn't
experienced that a
fun.
lot.
No, that was my first time just struggling and not knowing how to fix it or what the answers were. So that's a learning experience, and it takes a lot of time to figure out how to make adjustments off of that.
Yeah. So back into baseball a little bit. Freshman year, you make the SEC all freshman team, perfect game freshman All American, and you pitched 78 1.1 innings, 3.5 record, 4.02 ERA, 55 strikeouts, only 14 walks. So really solid success there. So after a season, you decide I'm going to focus completely on baseball, stop playing football. And you talked about, the struggle and what you learned from it, but how do you come to that decision, and how difficult was it for you to give up football?
It was a tough choice. I mean, anytime you play a game for so long and you make a decision to give it up, it was definitely not an easy one. But we went to Omaha, and I kind of saw the success that I was having and where I could go with that. And I decided that if I focused all my time, all my energy, and effort into baseball, then that would be a future, possibly career for me. And once I made that decision, I just ran with it.
No, absolutely. So sophomore year, obviously, that COVID shortens the season. But want to at least talk about the opening, you being the opening day starter. You punch out 11 and you get the win over Eastern Illinois. So how good did it feel to be not only you're the opening day starter, but to dominate that game the way you did?
It feels good. I mean, you always never know what those opening weekends or any opponent that's, maybe a lower level than the SEC. So you always struggle to figure out, what they're going to be like or what's going to happen. So it's always good to get out there and get a win and feel good about the rest of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And, he talks about the COVID shortened season, and we don't got to go there because we've talked to every single athlete. We know how tough that was. And the adjustments that you guys all had to make. So it just leaves everybody hungry, and it also leaves some, tough decision makings within the program, guys staying going, all that stuff. So, you get into junior year, you only make 9 appearances primarily out of the bullpen. What happened between that sophomore and junior season that led to this?
I was just injured my junior year. I had a lingering issue with my forearm and didn't really know what was going on. And I tried to tough it out there in the beginning, and shortly found out that I couldn't do that anymore. So I had to shut it down, and trying to revamp yourself and get back to the condition you were in the middle of the season is a tough regimen. And I tried to do it, and I've had little success, but um, you know that's how it goes sometimes. You just need one moment, really.
Right. And this was just a physical therapy thing, no surgery or nothing like that, right?
Correct. Yeah, just a muscle. I guess it was a strain on my forearm, so wasn't too bad.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously it's a major transition though with battling the injury. You're coming out of the bullpen, but you earned your first career save, punching out 4 and 3 hitless innings of work against number 12 Ole Miss at the SEC tournament, helping the Razorbacks win their first SEC title. So talk to me about this game, just how good it felt to get that save, to beat Ole Miss and be a part of Arkansas winning that first SEC title.
Yeah, that was a big moment. I mean, I was coming off one of the worst weeks of my life at OSU. I gave up, I think, 7 runs in .2 innings. So I had some doubts about myself and didn't really know where I was going to fall. So, I got the call in that game and I was nervous. I was losing it in the bullpen. But, it started to click in there. And I just wanted to help the team. I felt like I wasn't carrying my weight the rest of the year. And, in that moment, it just felt like the right time to figure it out and try to help us win.
Yeah, no, that kind of stuff amazes me. Daniel talked about he was the pitcher. I didn't play baseball, and I sure could have never been a pitcher, because the ability for you guys to be able to have a short memory and bounce back is unbelievable, man. Like, I mean, the next time I would step on the mound, I would be so stressed out, so nervous. But you come out there and you absolutely dominate. You put it in the back burner and do your thing. And so, commend you for that. And that's what makes, great pitchers, amazing, is your ability to just have a short memory and bounce back like that. So let's talk about the team as a whole for a second. You guys clearly the best team in America. Didn't lose a single series in SEC play, which is just unheard of. Just how much fun was the regular season? And specifically, give me your favorite series.
That's a tough one. That team was so fun. It's
I'm
just when
seeking
you're
an
winning,
answer,
and
Connor, and if you have the right answer, you'll be my best friend.
my answer might be a little different because I think the Alabama series at
Ah,
home. So they beat us 22-0 or 22-3 in the first game, and there's always like the defining moment in the season where it's like that's where it's all turned around. For us, that was the game where it was just like you get your teeth kicked in and you turn over the page and it's a whole new year, and running out to number one till, pretty much the end.
I believe in second chances, Connor. If you want to say Tennessee to mess with Randy, you can.
I mean, that one was fun too.
No,
that's a second favorite.
let me tell you something. My man Randy calls things right a lot. And he said after that series, this is the best team in baseball. He said there was no doubt they were the better team. And he's not one of those guys that's going to, be salty about it. And he, he knew going in what they were going against. And so he tipped the cap to y'all. And he actually, was rooting for y'all to win it all if it wasn't going to be Tennessee. I'll admit.
I mean, they had like that secret weapon dude, call the cops. I mean, it's unhittable.
Yeah, I tried to. Hey, Connor, I'll be honest with you. I tried to defend that Landon Sims, my boy,
all season long. You did, Connor. I ain't gonna lie. He at the end though, he came correct.
I had once Cops comes in and goes from closing a game to pitching a whole game as a starter. It was like, what do I have anymore? I got nothing. Like
me and DB were like, all year, we're like, dude, that's the guy. And he's like, man, no, my boy. And he wasn't like dogging Cops or nothing. He was just like, no, man, my guy landed. We're like, I don't know, dude. But then finally at the end, he was like, all right, I never say I'm wrong, but this guy's the truth.
Yeah, that was the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen. Every week, week in, week out, you put him on the mound, you're just like, all right, when are we gonna win?
Day, not even week. It was like every day. Hey, close this game, start this game, mid relief this game. It was unfair.
Yeah, Connor's sitting there just trying to get his arm right, talking about working through the pain, and this dude's just out there throwing every day like a machine.
Yeah,
well, that's one of the things. We would sit down in the bullpen, and we'd all be down there. And they wouldn't send Kevin down there until about the fifth or the sixth, and we'd be all getting ready to go in the game, and we'd see Kevin running down there just looking like he's on Baywatch, just running down. And we're like, oh, we're not going in.
So you guys losing the Super Regionals to NC State after being, like I said, clearly the best team, and y'all even put an absolute beat down on them in game one. But it just shows, how humbling baseball can be and how anything can happen. We're obviously talking about the Kevin Kopps thing. And I wanted to touch more on that. Just for you as a guy who's been out of the bullpen and been a starter, but for him who's primarily been a closer, like, just how cool was that to watch him be able to go out there and start that game three and be successful and go, as far as he did?
It was just, I think I speak for everyone. It was just unbelievable. You never know what you're going to get in a game three when you have no starting pitching left. And, the plan started out to be, we were going to start Jackson Wiggins, and then we bring Kevin in like the third. And then you get to the field and you see his name as a starting pitcher. But just, you sit back and you watch, and he's just dominating, cruising. And then he walks down in the little tunnel at our field, and he's just crushed. I mean, he's physically drained, and he just goes out there every inning and gives it his all. So just the determination and want to win from him, and trying to put the team on his back. I mean, there's no better way to do it than take a guy that's in the bullpen all year and stick him in the starting job in the biggest game of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. So y'all got one of the best coaches, if not, the best coach arguably in baseball, in Van Horn. What's the emotion? What does he say to you guys after, everything y'all had accomplished and then you guys come up short? What does he say to y'all, afterwards?
I mean, he pretty much just reminded us we gave it everything we got, but that's baseball. You're not going to win them all. And even if you feel like you should, the game's going to humble you in a way you didn't see. So, even with a heroic effort like Kevin, I mean, that's how the game goes. You can't score runs, and the guy, pitches 9 innings almost. It's kind of just one of those things.
Are you a superstitious guy, Connor?
I'm not. I'm a little stitious, but I'm not superstitious.
The reason why I ask is because, especially we're going to get into the past season, but with what happened with Tennessee and with what happened to y'all, that whole number one ranking since 1999 thing, are you starting to believe in that at least?
I think has some truth to it. That's got some weight. It's a trend at this point.
Yeah, so I've made many comments to many guests. I tell them, make sure you don't finish the season with that number one. If you're number one going into that final weekend, get swept. I mean,
we'll see ya.
So senior season comes, man. Y'all are hungry. Y'all came up short. You personally, you went 8-6 with a 3.65 ERA and 116 innings pitched with 113 Ks, 34 walks. I want to get to the 2 balls hit off you first. This is something I've really wanted to talk to you about. It really just showed, Connor, if anybody ever questioned that you were a tough football player and that you were good, it's the way you took those baseballs off you and just kept on trucking and playing. And I mean, the one you end up throwing the guy out, right? Correct?
I got both of them out.
You got both of them out. Okay. I couldn't remember. I
Yeah.
knew you got one for sure. So talk to me like about just the adrenaline rush. You get hit by a ball and then you just turn around and keep playing. Like, is that coming from a guy who used to play football, or is that just the ultimate competitor in you?
I think it's just a competitor. I think the football helps, but it's one of those things. Your adrenaline's so high, and the game's going so fast. I got hit in the forearm the first time, and I picked up the ball again, threw my warm up pitches, and I determined I couldn't hit the strike zone. So I kept going though. It was one of those things where they were gonna have to come get me off the mound. I wasn't gonna go out there myself. So I think that's just how everybody should be. Obviously, if you're hurt, I probably wouldn't stay out there, but you got to have that dog in you, I guess.
Yeah, no doubt. And the dog you had, one of the guys I want to talk to you about, we had Michael Turner on the show, and he just displayed his intelligence for the game. And, with him being the catcher behind the dish for you all year, just talk about that relationship and what it was like to have a guy who did have that intelligence and did have that veteran, leadership.
It makes a big difference when you have a guy that can call a full game, and he might look over to the coach 1 or 2 times, but he has that confidence in you and your stuff, and he's just calling you to execute pitches. It makes it so much easier. When you're getting in a flow, he's putting the signs down. It's more just a rhythm thing at some points. You're just going at a good pace. So he did a great job. He knows the game. He knows what's going on. And as a catcher, you're kind of like the quarterback for the whole team. So I think he exemplified how to do it.
What's the meanest thing Michael Turner has ever come to the mound and told you?
That guy doesn't have a mean bone in his body. He's
Man.
never said anything. But Coach Hobbs, he'll let you know on the mound.
Yeah, so talking about not saying mean things, I want to talk about our little bro on this show, Brady Tigert. He's a 3-time guest. Been watching him throw his fill since high school. Try to talk him into LSU, Connor. He wasn't interested. He was Arkansas through and through. I even covered his signing day, try to give one little pitch. He wouldn't do it. But, I wanted to talk to you about his outing in Omaha against Ole Miss. With you being such a veteran guy and him being a young freshman, what do you say to him? What were your words of wisdom to him after that performance?
It was tough, obviously. Everybody that remembers that game, but I just went into the little tunnel and I just told him that Zach's got him. This is a team sport. We're here for each other, and if you don't do it, somebody else will. And there's always going to be tomorrow. It's a long tournament in Omaha, and if you don't pitch well the day before, you're going to have another chance to bounce back. So just letting them know that everything was all right and to not get down. You just want to keep spirits high in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. He definitely wasn't scared. He texted me that night and said, I better get in tomorrow. Like, he's like, I absolutely want it. So it's a bad game. Like we said, baseball is a humbling game. But back to you. What was before we get into the postseason stuff, what was your favorite? Just like I'd asked you before, what was your favorite series? Maybe your favorite game of the year in this particular season?
I thought our A&M series was awesome. Their fans are crazy. They go bananas. They do
Crazy is a little nice word. I heard from some of the parents some other words.
Yeah, there's a lot of words for it. They get after you pretty good, and I love it. I love when fans bring the energy. They're passionate about it, and they'll say anything to your face and not be scared about it. So, I got up to all 10, I think, in the game I threw, and I just love the energy they bring down there.
Yeah, no doubt. And they're a really good team, and obviously a team that would punch their ticket and go to Omaha with y'all. So postseason this time, it's different. You're not the hunted anymore, like you were the year before, and you got to travel and go on the road. So talk about that experience and how y'all were able to be so successful, in a different element as opposed to, the way you did the season before.
We kind of embrace going on the road. You kind of have to be the bad guy at some point when you go on the road. When you want to beat the higher seed that got the host, and we kind of just took that mentality into Oklahoma State. We knew they were a good team, but we knew if we got hot at the right time, everything started to click. We would be fine, and we wanted to beat somebody on their own field. As bad as it sounds, we got beat in 2021 on our field, and everybody's crying and doing that. And we kind of wanted to take that mentality, and we knew that feeling, and we wanted to go do it to somebody else.
Oh, that sounds wrong, man. When you put it that way, you could have just left that
I
out.
know it's bad.
So y'all punch the ticket, you get to Omaha, man. Obviously you'd been there before, but this is a little different, man. Obviously, with it coming up short season, did it feel different from the first time?
It felt very different. I think, both years that we made it to Omaha, nobody expected us to be there. But this time it really felt that way. And we kind of had a miracle journey through regional and super regional, just crazy games, crazy atmospheres. And once we got there, we had a lot of confidence. I mean, everybody was ready to play and locked in, and we weren't ready to go home.
Yeah, speaking of ready to go home, let me tell you something, brother. I'll tell you when I met your dad. It was the Stanford game. Y'all didn't want to stop scoring runs. I never thought that game would end. I was wanting to get out and get something to eat and tailgate between the next game. And I started getting hungry and hungry, and I started meeting all the parents because, I think even people start getting to a point where I think even Arkansas, as much as the fans and the parents loved it, it's like, okay, we're just dragging this thing out, man. It started to get real ugly. Man, what was that game like just watching? Did you kind of feel bad at any point, or how'd that go?
No, we didn't feel bad, but I was ready for it to be over. I was like, guys, we're up by 15. Let's just start swinging over the top of balls or do something. I mean, do something different. And it just every inning scoring more runs. And it was hot that day. I mean, it was probably touching 105, 106 heat index wise. And I was dying because I was out there, on the mound, and then I'd wait in the dugout and it'd be just as warm in there. I was like, guys, let's speed this thing up.
And that was the best thing because the parents were sitting up underneath the awning section, and a lot of them were standing up. And so you're talking about the heat. I didn't even go sit in my seat that was down in the sun. I was like, I'm gonna go stand up here with them. It's a lot better up here. But let's get into the game, man. The 8 innings that you pitched against Ole Miss. We had Dylan DeLucia on here, and man, he tipped the cap to you. Just talking about the pitcher's duel. What's it like for you on the biggest stage, in the biggest moment like that, going against a guy who's shoving on the other end? You're doing your thing. What's it like, having that kind of intense, matchup going on?
It's just an out of body experience, really. I mean, that's one of those games I look back on, and that's like the ideal baseball game when I think about something. You're just sitting out there with another pitcher, and you're just going head to head, and the best man's going to win. So, looking back on that game, we both were just cruising through, and I hit a little rough patch, and he just kept going, and it was kind of just whoever gave out first, they were going to win. So, that's what happened.
And that's what he said. He said the exact same thing you just said. He said it felt like whoever made the mistake, and he felt like he couldn't make a mistake because he didn't feel like you were going to make one. And so, I mean, that showed how dominant y'all were because y'all were putting the pressure on the other guy.
Yeah, it was a lot of pressure going into that game too. I'm sure he probably felt it too. But before the game that night, when I knew I was going to start, I was sweating. I was sleeping in bed. I couldn't sleep. It was nerve wracking, that's for sure.
Well, man, I'll end on this. Even though the ride came up short, y'all's team, like you said, you played with house money. You weren't the same team that you were before. You exceeded expectations. You took the fan base on a ride, and even in that game and a loss, you gave everything you had. There was nothing left behind. And so, man, just shout out to you, shout out to that team for a magical run. It didn't end in a championship, but man, what an exciting season nonetheless.
No, I appreciate it. It was a good one. I hope that's one to remember in the books for Arkansas.
No, absolutely. So let's kind of moving on from the sad stuff. Season's over, drafts right around the corner. How much time do you have to let that kind of soak in? You got to kind of get over those raw emotions before kind of chaos starts and you're moving into where am I going next?
I probably had 3 weeks there to really sit down, relax. It moves so fast, and they even pushed the draft back now, but it's still a quick turn on when you play that long at Omaha.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you take those 3 weeks off, are you still working out? Are you playing golf? Are you playing video games? What's going on?
I was playing golf. That's about it. I mean, I worked out still. That's just part of the routine. But I was just trying to kick back, relax, and rest the arm.
Absolutely. So you're playing golf, man. What was shooting, man? Like mid 80s?
Triple
I
digits.
think. Oh no, not triple digits. Some days. I mean, there's some bad days out there, but I'm probably mid 80s, high 80s on a typical day.
Okay, so there's okay something I could probably
I
beat you in
I
something then. Okay, good.
I have a feeling
No, I'm
though.
just kidding.
I have a feeling that this is like when those guys tell us that they're good at basketball, but then we find out later down the road that they're really not.
Uh,
Is this one of those times, Connor, where
Nobody,
you're
no,
saying
no, no. Nobody lies about the high 80s and then says sometimes triple digits. If you're
okay.
gonna lie, you're gonna be like, "Oh no, man, I'm upper
and,
70s."
and you didn't scour
Yeah.
the social media enough. There's plenty of times of him golfing, so I know he's out on that
I
course.
you know,
Um,
there was golf out there, but I'm gonna be honest, I went right past those links.
Well, there's
Went
just so much content for Connor, man.
yeah.
We got to pick and choose here. But
the
so
golf stuff's
listen.
good.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm gonna look up your TikToks here in a minute. So
No,
draft night. Where were you for the draft, and who was with you?
I was just at my house. My mom, my little brother, little sister were in town, grandma, grandpa. It was pretty, I mean, low key event. I mean, I really didn't know what was going to happen, and we weren't just sitting there waiting around. We went and ate, and then got a call in the middle of lunch, and had to rush back home to kind of get everything figured out. Flip the TV on.
Yeah, so you're drafted by in the ninth round by the Chicago Cubs. I mean, talk us through. Obviously, you got to go home. You said during lunch, but how awesome of a feeling was it? And who called you, man? It was. I mean, tell us the story. Walk us through the whole thing.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I got a couple calls the first day, and it was, everybody just trying to offer you 25 grand to go in the second round, and I'd turn those down. And I got to the next day, and you got a couple calls, but nothing that really piqued the interest. And I actually got called by the Cubs earlier and didn't take it. And then I got back on the phone with the regional scout in the ninth round at the same time as I had the Cardinals on the phone. So I'm sure a lot of fans around here that love the Cardinals are probably a little mad, but
I am
uh,
pissed.
We are
I
all
wanted to
three
be.
Cardinals fans, my guy.
Yeah.
It's a good thing this interview is 90% done.
Hey, well, see, I can't make everybody happy. I'm trying, but
You're
I
doing a
had to
great
go.
job.
I had to go with the Cubs. Love the organization and thought it was the best fit for me. So, just a big relief after you get done with that phone call. Kind of get to sit back. I had about, you know, a whole round to wait before my pick was actually called. That's how far ahead they were. So, had a little suspense because you never know if they're actually going to call your name or not. You might get a little curveball in there. So once it happened, though, just got to celebrate with my family.
Yeah, I was to say
Yeah,
I'm not going to throw any names out, but I know a couple guys that did happen to, and that's man, I couldn't imagine that feeling being told that you are, and then the name isn't called, and there's been a change.
yeah,
Connor, I was gonna add to that. Like, obviously, you told them no earlier on. Did you? Was that in the back of your mind? Like when you're thinking, oh, they might change their mind. Like I already talked to them and told them no, and maybe they're like, well, forget this guy.
well, I didn't think they'd do that, but it just gets down to the point where
I don't
you
know.
have the
I
confirmation.
I heard
No,
stories about them Cubs, man.
hey, it's just it's nothing's written on paper, so I was a little skeptical of if it was actually going to happen or not. But um, I'm glad it did. It was long awaited, and sitting there for 2 days is tough. I mean, that's a long wait.
Absolutely. So after you get drafted, where do you have to report to? And all of the content we did find on you, I did not see any official stats. So where you been pitching, man?
I went out to Arizona. They had all the draftees out there, and we started training. But they weren't going to ship me out. I didn't throw any innings. I just did bullpens because of my workload during the college season. So they kind of shut me down and just let me work out and, really just work on developing pitches and bullpens.
when they tell you, hey man, we're gonna shut you down, you've pitched enough, is that disappointing to hear? Is it like, are you fearful because like you're now there, you feel like you got to show something? Like what? How does that work?
I was relieved. I mean, I put a lot of work on my arm this year, and I was kind of ready to just shut it down for a little bit. Typically I wouldn't start throwing until late September, and I was out there in July throwing again. So I was ready for some time off, and I was glad that I wasn't going to put it in a situation where I was having to go out there and maybe overextend my body.
Yeah, looking back at it, Daniel, I had to look at the stat that I read. He had 116 innings under his belt that season, man.
One one inning more than Cops, and he was a closer.
Yes.
No, I kid, man. It's really unbelievable, man. Like just the journey and how good of an athlete you were, how good you were at multiple sports, just the ability to play at the highest level, um, and continue playing, the game that you love at the highest level, man. It's pretty damn cool, man. Do you ever sit back
Appreciate
and
it.
go, do you ever just sit back and go, man, I'm really lucky. Like I get to do this. This is my job.
Oh yeah, I'm thankful for the opportunities that I've had and where I've been able to take it. I mean, I think a lot of people don't see, but we have so much influence as athletes, and so many people that look up to us, and there's a lot of people that would want to be in our shoes. So I'm just thankful that every day I get to wake up and I get to play baseball for a living.
Well, great story, but you know what else you can be thankful for? You get to play a game called This or That. A
I'm ready.
hundred, 150 people have been asked a plethora of these this or that questions. I have a feeling this is gonna be a good session. So,
I'm in.
all right. So it's very simple. I'll give you two options. You choose one option or the other. Got to be decisive, straight to the answer. Tell me what's on your mind, what's you're passionate about, what you're feeling in your heart and your gut, and go with that one. All right. Can't say both. Can't say neither. Just pick one and go with it.
All right,
Good. All right, here we go. Softball question to start. Barbecue or steak?
steak.
What kind of steak is Connor Noland? Is he like a porterhouse guy? Is he a filet guy? Like what do you get?
It just depends, fillet or ribeye. I mean, two good choices. Just depends.
I just need to know how it's cooked.
Anything other than medium rare is wrong.
100% correct.
God,
answer.
how do so
Yes.
many people eat their steak wrong? My
Because
God.
we're not communists, Jim.
How do they eat their steak wrong?
Yes.
Jim likes leather, like a baseball glove.
This is
That is
this is
horrible.
so Connor, this might shock you, but like that's a typical Jim answer when he's like, everybody else prefers it this way, but I'm right. Like they are all wrong.
He's
I
in his
mean-
own category.
Hey, just like I'm just going to tell you guys, man, coffee was better with mayo. I'm going to go there again.
That is almost as disgusting as like well done steak.
Yeah.
Who does that?
Yeah.
Is that Will Levis that does that?
And I did it because he did it just to have fun with it, and these guys have been disgusted with me ever since.
Was it actually good?
Yeah, I actually thought it was better than
No.
regular coffee because I don't like
He
regular
hates
coffee.
regular
Yes,
coffee. He can't be trusted, Connor.
I mean,
Man just
wow.
told you he likes well done steak.
Yeah.
That's got some shock factor with it.
It's got some dumb factor with it. That's what it is.
I'm an
It's
LSU
just-
fan, man. We're wild. What can I tell you?
I'll give you that.
All right,
No,
Connor.
it ain't LSU that puts mayonnaise in their coffee.
No.
They put
No.
bourbon in it.
Yep. At least that's normal.
Yes.
All right, man. So would you rather go to the beach or to the lake?
The beach.
Right? Who has better bombs? Caden Wallace or Jalen Battles?
Jalen Battles.
I'd agree with that, but I had to make
Yeah.
sure. I put that question on there for fun.
He pimps them, so it's a little cooler.
He's got a little extra swag when he drops one for sure.
He's got that X factor.
Would you rather play dodgeball or wiffle ball?
Dodgeball.
See, that's the pitcher answer. We get
Yes.
guys that are position guys that hit bombs, and they're like, "Yeah, I want to go play some wiffle ball so I can drop bombs."
I don't know. I mean, my man batted like 465 in high school. I don't know.
Every pitcher that comes on is like, I want to throw a dodgeball as hard as I can and hit somebody in the face.
Yes, that's what it's all about. I mean, PE in high school and middle school. I mean, that's what everybody lived for.
Do y'all play dodgeball in y'all's Omaha Challenge at Arkansas?
We did. We stopped doing that. I guess right when I got here, so we never did one.
They didn't want players to get hurt when Connor pegged him in the face. That's exactly what happened.
I made the rules there. See, I shut it all down.
What's up? Where is a harder place to play, Duty Noble or Alex Box?
I haven't played at either of those.
What?
Wait. Alex Box, that's LSU?
Yeah.
I haven't played at the other one, so I can't really say.
Well, man, I'm fired for that question. I assumed that you had played at both. I didn't really even check.
Yeah, I was hurt that year that we traveled, and I didn't even go on the bus. So I'm gonna say Box, but that's just
well. Now I'm gonna flip it on the fly. I'm gonna give you Lindsey Nelson or Randy. Where are we going? Will we compete with Lindsey Nelson?
Lindsey Nelson. I'm going with that one.
All right. See, there you go.
Would you rather attend a bucket list concert or a bucket list sporting event?
Concert.
Who is your bucket list concert? Who's on stage?
Oh, that's tough. It'd have to be a country singer. I don't know. Tyler Childers might be up there for me, but it'd have to be at the Red Rock.
Oh, of course. So, we'll take this a step further. If you were like, "Hey, DB, let's go cruise. Hop in," and I hopped in your car, we turn it on. What's playing on? What are we jamming to?
I'm country all the way. I mean, I'll play a little hip hop every once in a while, but Tyler Childers, Turnpike Troubadours, anything, Morgan Wallen. I'm pretty much going with that.
And so Daniel's getting out of the truck at the first stop sign.
Yeah, I'm like, this is good, Connor. You can just let me out here. I'll walk the rest of the way.
That's tough.
Randy's our resident guy who will actually listen to country.
They're haters, man. Better. Can't worry about these guys, man.
All right. We'll make it on our own.
That's right. We don't need these dudes.
Yeah. Would you rather be a hero or a villain?
Hero.
Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite hero?
I'm going with Batman.
Yes.
It's kind of a wild card question.
Oh, does Randy even know, Daniel, about Monday?
No, there was a Spider-Man over the last couple episodes. We've had Spider-Man and we've had Superman. And what was the other one?
It was Spider-Man multiple times in a row, and then it was Superman. But Randy missed, and Randy, I don't know if you heard, but on Monday, Hunter Hines said Batman was nothing. He was just a rich guy with toys. And you weren't here for it.
I shut that shit down. Shut it down.
That is a terrible, terrible take.
But then he said Superman, which, we've always kind of talked about Superman was kind of, a little on the dorkier side.
I think Batman he's top notch. I don't care about. He might be a billionaire and all that, and it's not just toys. I mean, he's got the skills to back it up.
I'll tell you what, Connor. As someone has a 10-year-old, the coolest Batman to me is Lego Batman. That dude rocks.
See, I haven't gotten into that one, but
you don't even got to have kids. I bet Randy will vouch for that. Randy's Lego Batman, a good movie.
Lego Batman's a good movie, but it's not like.
You can't expect him to be Danny Keaton.
All right, last question. It's a big question. It's gonna let us know everything that we need to know about Connor Noland. Would you rather have massive success on accident or modest success on purpose?
Accident, for sure.
I love it.
This has been like the most perfect interview.
Randy usually has to reform the question to get people to understand what's being asked, but you ask it. Usually he puts it in terms of, I will give you $100 million to do nothing or $20 million to play baseball. And some guys will still stick firm and they'll say, I'll play baseball for 20 million. And Randy's like,
No, I don't know that we've had that. What I say though, Connor, is all right, I'll give you $100 million, no strings attached, or I'll give you a chance to earn 20 million. Oh, of course I want to earn my money. And then I'm like, okay, well now I got $80 more million than you do. For what? And
Yeah,
then
no, I'm
most
taking
of the
I'm
time they're
taking the
like, oh
100.
yeah, of course.
and
Of
I'm
course.
just, and
I
I'm
don't
just going
know.
to tell you, you missed another bad episode, Randy, because Hunter Hines said he's going to play baseball for his 20 mil.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that's why I don't add. I've never added baseball into mine because asking a baseball player that's his dream. That's a little different scenario. But saying I'm going to give you 100 or you earn 20, I mean, come on.
His
Give me 100.
justification was $20 million goes a long way in the state of Mississippi.
Well, here's the thing. It's like semi-pro. You just take the 100, you go buy your own team, and then you just start yourself.
Oh, wow.
I'm buying a pickleball team.
Randy, he just keeps going up the ladder for you, doesn't he?
I love it. We're investing. I mean, we're going to be partners soon. And let me tell you what, we're having country concerts at every one of our games.
But don't forget, he
I'm
did
in.
pick the Cubs over the Cardinals. Don't let that go, Randy.
You know, it's okay.
That's,
okay, man.
That's my one pitfall with you.
It's okay. I mean, hey, my first wife had some too. It's okay.
On that note, Connor, my man, anything you want to plug or promote before you get out of here?
I got nothing. You go Hogs.
Well, I had a feeling you're going to say that. So, if you are wanting to know more about Connor Noland and you just want to see what he's up to on a typical Thursday night or maybe, on a random Monday, go on over to Instagram at cnolan_1313, or you could check him out at Cubs, at Arkansas BSB. Connor, man, if there's anything we can do for you along the way, reach out to us. We appreciate your time, man. We wish you nothing but the best moving forward.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys having me on.
You got it,
Absolutely.
man. Anytime. That is Connor Noland. We are going to take a break, plug some sponsors. When we come back, got a lot of headlines to talk